race to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Happy last Friday before Titans football. Woohoo! Woohoo!
Wow, somebody came in with some energy today on Friday. All right.
That's big football energy.
Oh, man.
Woohoo!
There we go. Let's get it on. First day.
This is going to be fun. I can't
Last
wait.
night was great.
Last night
really
was
good football.
great.
That was really good football last night. And if you love, if you just love like watching like coaches on the sideline and their facial expressions and their demeanors, you gotta love Dan Campbell. I swear,
yeah.
it looks like he will eat through a brick wall. That's how he looks like. And then they show, because I didn't know that he played, when he was playing, obviously, because he was a backup guy or played much at all. I don't know. But I didn't know, I didn't pay attention to Dan Campbell playing for the Giants. When he played for the Giants, I guess, you look at the marquee names on that list of guys. Because he played under Bill Parcells, I believe. So I just knew Phil Simms, guys like that, Taylor, Lawrence Taylor and guys like that.
He played for Parcells for Dallas, I believe. He was on the Giants.
He was on that
but
Giants
it was after,
team, yeah.
after Parcells.
Okay, it was after Parcells.
Yeah, but he joined Parcells. He does seem like a Parcells guy.
Yeah, he does. He's just – but then they show, like, pictures of him, because he played with Dallas's old coach that does the broadcasting now. And
he looks the exact same.
Yeah, they showed.
He might even be bigger.
They said he would be in biker bars. He went out to biker bars. He was just that dude, and he resembles the same type of dude now. It's like they interviewed him. And he was like, "Listen, I love football. I love these guys, and if you show that you love them, they'll run through a brick wall for you." And the Detroit Lions, that's what they're doing right about now. Is running through a brick wall for them because. It was happy to finally see, and I saw it previously, when the Lions went to the playoffs, I think a few years ago, and then they ended up firing their coach. But now I see it again. It's just life in the Detroit Lions, on the Detroit Lions sideline. They believe that, they got a good enough team to win. So it was a delight as a hometown guy being from Detroit, like, man, this team might just be really, really good, So I was happy to see the Lions win yesterday.
One thing that I didn't appreciate on the broadcast, I believe it was Mike Tirico, that said this win will have an asterisk next to it because Travis Kelce and no Travis Kelce and no Chris Jones. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, look, this is the National Football League, and it's hard to win games. And I'm sorry you didn't have Chris Jones. I'm sorry you didn't have Travis Kelce. But, Chris Collinsworth even said before the game, we're about to learn how good of a quarterback Patrick Mahomes really is. Like, are we really? He's a two-time MVP and two-time Super Bowl winner. Like, I feel like we have a pretty good grasp of how good of a quarterback Patrick Mahomes really is. But I don't think it's fair to not give the Lions their due. I mean, they beat the reigning Super Bowl champions in their own house.
That's tough to do.
Look, I understand maybe the game would have gone completely different had there been Travis Kelce out there, had there been Chris Jones, trying to bully up on that Detroit offensive line. But look, they won the game fair and square, and it's a dub no matter what.
Exactly.
Whether it's with or without Travis Kelce, a win's a win.
And they did something that we were discussing yesterday, Willie. And Caroline, about being physical, and the physicality is not just in the run game. You saw them being physical in the pass game with their play action. Their offensive line, they're legit. That Lions offensive line is legit. Now, they had a few problems early on with the blitzing and everything else, and you would expect first game of the season, you haven't played this team, so you haven't quite scouted them. You don't have much to scout because they haven't played any games this season. But once the Lions sort of figured it out, especially in that fourth quarter, that offensive line, that's what the Titans need. That type of offensive line right there. Because if you have that,
that's a pretty damn good offensive line.
If you have that type of offensive line, you are able to see what the Lions were capable of doing. They were physical in the play action pass, and then they were physical when they wanted to be running downhill, especially in that fourth quarter. So that was really, truly a delight to see as well.
It's a good first game. I think I'm a believer in Detroit for the season. I think that was a great confidence boost. And at the same time, I do think they caught the Chiefs at the perfect time. The Chiefs have a number of new wide receivers that they're trying to define roles. I have the utmost confidence that they'll figure it out by the end of the year. But that was a great time for the Lions, a struggling defense from last year, to play them. And you take away Travis Kelce, so there was no security blanket. So they were really trying to find it. And the Detroit caught a couple of big breaks, right? Kadarius Toney had a nightmare, right? He has one go off of his hands that's a perfect pass, that's a pick six, which is just an incredible swing. That might be the game right there. And still, it's 21-20. Toney has another chance to make a very, I wouldn't say it was an easy catch, but that's a catch that game on the line.
Ball.
He
should have caught it.
There were 3 or 4 passes that he should have caught that went right through his hands.
Yeah.
He couldn't catch a
It was behind him, but
night.
if he twists and catches it, they may go down and kick the winning field goal. So I do think the Lions benefited a lot from not having Kelce in there, which was my theory. That's why I picked him on the show yesterday. Another thing that I thought was interesting, Andy Reid, a couple times in that 4th and 3-2 area, in the gray area of do you go for it, do you kick the field goal? He kicked the field goal. Up 17-14, I thought for sure they're going for it. It was 4th and 2, I think. They kicked it to go up 20-14. They end up losing by 1.
I think that was because he saw how the game was going. And as good as Patrick Mahomes is, for one, the Chiefs, let's just say this. Whoever was refereeing the offensive line, they did a horrible job. The line judge did a horrible freaking job. They called one penalty. It was a penalty on, what's his name, Juwan Johnson? It was a penalty every play on him.
Blatant
exactly.
false start
every
on
play.
Several instances.
But he was he wasn't even, because Chris Collinsworth was, and he mentioned it, and thank God he mentioned it. Because I thought, just watching the game early, I'm like, man, he's far back, and he's, getting off the ball early. But then when Chris Collinsworth said, listen, his head is not even breaking the waistline of the center, which it should be, which it's a disadvantage for the defensive end. Because now the minute the ball's high and you getting off the ball a little bit too early, now you're in a position where I'm at a disadvantage as a defensive player. Whoever that line judge was, they called it one time. And it was, he had to call it because it was blatant. But other than that, they could have called a penalty on him every play, but they didn't.
The officiating wasn't great. It absolutely wasn't great. But a couple of my takeaways from the game last night. One, I think we all picked Detroit to win that division.
I think we did, yeah.
I think we all picked Detroit to win that division. And also, that's not a great division this year. But if I don't have my game-by-game breakdown pulled up. But I had the Lions winning double-digit games. So I think that the Lions just might be a much improved football team. Did you have them in the Super Bowl?
No, I had them in the NFC Championship game.
NFC Championship game. I don't know if I can say that definitively after what I saw last night, but I think they're going to be a much improved football team. And I think the second thing is last season we gave Patrick Mahomes so much credit, rightfully so, for the Chiefs trading away Tyreek Hill And Patrick Mahomes was still Superman. Patrick Mahomes still was able to get his team to the Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl without one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. But there's only so much that Superman can do without Robin. Batman can do without Robin. I'm mixing up my superheroes. There's only so much that
they're
Patrick
all part
Mahomes,
of the Justice League, though.
Yeah,
they're all super friends.
Whatever. They're all friends. There's only so much that Patrick Mahomes can do without Travis Kelce. His receivers last night, whether it was Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney, they weren't doing him very many favors. So I think that even though Patrick Mahomes, keeping that game as close as it was, and for the Chiefs to be leading a majority of the game as they did, that's really, really impressive for Patrick Mahomes to be able to do that without Travis Kelce and without their best defensive player. But there's only so much that Patrick Mahomes can overcome. And receivers dropping passes and not having his favorite target, he just simply can't overcome.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for between now and the end of the season, because I do think that will get better. They have some.
It was just a bad game by those guys dropping the football.
Yeah, and when they get Kelce back, that's going to slot the other guys into what they want to do.
Their proper roles.
Yeah, because Kelce changes everything, right? The other thing that they had that I thought was not reported on a lot, but they had basically 2 new tackles in the game too. So they didn't have the best pass protection. They didn't get a sack, but Hutchinson was back there every play. It seemed like he was bothering the rhythm, and that's a good sign for the Lions defense, because he looks like an unbelievably good player.
He looks
but it seems like their defense, the way that they play with Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator, and he took a lot of flack the last couple of seasons because that defense wasn't good. But now they have some guys in the secondary that he can depend on, and they look like a defense that will, I believe, that will be a top 10 defense in regards to takeaways. It just seems like that team plays with an aggression and speed that they're going to cause turnovers, or they're going to be in the right place at the right time to get those tip balls. And that's what I meant about the Tennessee Titans yesterday. They got to find a way to become a opportunistic defense, because they haven't been that way. They were in the red last year in regards to turnover differential. They need to be in the green this season if they are going to truly not just compete for the AFC